Hello, friends. The case when you left your pills at home and Alzheimer's still showed its symptoms. The illegitimate old fart at the meeting in Bishkek proudly talked about the successes of Russian military criminals in the non-existent Ukrainian city of Komsomolsk.
Если на карту посмотреть, посмотреть, взгляд перевести на карту по восточной, северо-восточной, там дальше Комсомольск. Да?
There used to be such a city in the Poltava region, which is now called Horishny Plavny. It's obvious the disease is progressing. Putin's soldiers can't get there, but in the sick old man's head, they're already there.
Значит, а севернее Комсомольска Купянск, Славянск, еще чуть посевернее, северо-восточнее Северск.
One calls Armenia Albania, the other claims to have captured a non-existent city. Is this some kind of dementia competition between presidents?
В Комсомольске внутри города идут боевые действия. И уже значительное количество зданий освобождено нашими войсками.
Yes, of course. The city has finally been successfully liberated from fridges, ceramic toilets, and washing machines.
Войска Украины уйдут из занимаемых ими территорий. Вот тогда и прекратятся боевые действия. Не уйдут, мы добьемся этого вооруженным путем.
Putin, weren't the goals of this operation supposed to be the denazification and demilitarization of Ukraine? Did he just admit that all he really wants is the territory and nothing else? Another entry for the book of the best modern quotes. Location, oral. A deputy head of the local public utilities department responds to a journalist's question about people complaining online about his work.
Как думаете, вообще, ориентировочные, может, какие сроки? Просто людям неудобно, люди жалуются. Видели, наверное, в интернете пишут прям много интересного. Меня в интернете, кроме больше ничего не интересует.
Considering how Putin keeps tightening internet restrictions in the country day by day, it's pretty clear why the man's face looks so sad. Kaya Kallas says the only way to stop Russia from launching another liberation tour is to cut its army and military budget down to a point where there's simply nothing left to attack with.
This is a very good question. Exactly that in order, if we want to prevent this war to continue, then actually we should, curb the army of Russia and also their military budget.
A short story of one sad Volodya who set out to demilitarize Ukraine and ended up demilitarizing Russia instead. Category: warm care, Putin style. A mobilized resident of Moscow attempted to take his own life after receiving a second draft notice. Two of his uncles were killed in the war in Ukraine, and he himself had been wounded multiple times.
Мама, прости меня, пожалуйста, родные. Простите, я не знаю, что мне делать. Я в ужасе. Я 4-й год мобилизованный. Был на передке, участвовал в штурмах. Мне поставили психическое заболевание, категорию В с красной печатью. Но меня не хотят увольнять, меня не принимают рапорт на увольнение, хотят отправить обратно на Украину. С своим заболеванием я там был буквально в первый же день. Я не знаю, что мне делать, простите меня.
A guy who didn't volunteer but was forcibly mobilized knows better than anyone that you won't make easy, fast money there. And yet, there are still geniuses who go there willingly. In Latvia, they're seriously considering taking apart the railway tracks that still connect them to Russia. Relations, they say, are simple. Either we trade and pretend we're cooperating, or we don't trade and pretend we don't see each other. But this is the maximum level. Maybe just dismantle the rails entirely, to be sure, huh? Friends, now is the perfect moment to hit the like button. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. Thank you. A thick purple cloud was spotted near Orenburg. At first, local services didn't even understand what was happening. According to Defense Express, everything points to yet another attempt to launch the Sarmat missile. The previous test ended with the missile blowing up right in its silo. After that, the trials were moved to the Yasnoy Cosmodrome, hoping for better luck. But the result was the same there as well. Another explosion. Let's remind ourselves of the threats made by the great geostrategist.
Повышенное внимание, как и раньше, уделим укреплению ядерной триады. В этом году на боевое дежурство заступают первые пусковые установки ракетного комплекса «Сармат» с новой тяжелой ракетой.
The missile turned out to be not only effective, but also smart. It refused to leave its native soil. Why would it? Everything is so cozy and home-like there. An absolute precedent in judicial practice, even for the late Putin state. 8 defendants, completely random people, were sentenced to life imprisonment for the fact that, in one way or another, they were in the chain of the Crimean bridge bombing in 2022. Vasyl Malyuk, the head of Ukraine's security service, even said openly that the people were used in the dark. But this did not stop Putin from putting ordinary civilians in prison for life. Not funny? It's normal. This is Russia. And in the category of most inspiring city landscape, the winner is Lipetsk. Just take a look at this beauty. And by the way, it's only about 5 hours from Moscow.
Вот, бро, вот такие вот домики у нас. По улице Юношеская. Как тебе такое? Что тебе напоминает? Я думаю, ты понимаешь, да, что тебе напоминает, бро? Нормально? Здесь раньше люди жили. Когда-то.
The real idea behind this entire special operation is simple: to bring Ukrainian cities up to Lipetsk-level aesthetics and then apply the same beautification to Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Czechia, France, Germany, all the way to Gibraltar. Garry Kasparov, world chess champion, longtime Putin critic, and one of the most outspoken voices in the Russian opposition, has delivered a harsh message to NATO. He said bluntly that if it weren't for Ukraine holding the line, Russian tanks would already be in Poland.
It's not about how many weapons you have, ammunition. It's, are you willing to fight and die? Oh, it's nice. You have a Canadian-led brigade in Latvia. What's the order for this brigade? Will they shoot if Russians cross the border? We know the answer. It will take ages to negotiate. We're celebrating NATO. NATO is not strong. NATO doesn't exist. It's a fake. It's NATO, 4 letters. The reason you are still sitting here and celebrating it, Ukraine is dying every minute. It's a massive sacrifice. If not for Ukraine standing in front of Russia, Russian tanks would be already in Poland.
This kind of truth is hard to say in the West, and even harder to hear. Garry Kasparov will go down in history not only as a world chess champion, but as a champion of courage and clear thinking.
Ukraine is the only country that is fulfilling NATO's destiny. And we owe them everything. Thanks to Ukraine, Russia is not fulfilling Putin's dream of restoring a Russian empire. But if, God forbid, Ukraine is forced to make this deal, then it's very clear. Putin will realize his dream. And then, guys, you're next. But you are not willing to fight.
This is one of those moments when people in the civilized world have become so used to peace and normal life that the very idea of having to respond to aggression with force feels unreal, almost impossible to grasp. Friends, making content on YouTube is getting harder every day because of blocks and restrictions. But thanks to your support, this channel keeps going. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who keeps supporting the channel with one-time donations in the YouTube comments. You're the best. But if you can, please consider doing it through Patreon or buy me a coffee instead. That way, your support reaches me much more directly. YouTube takes a 30% cut, while those platforms only take around 10%. And don't forget that I have a Patreon, where you can subscribe for just $3 a month. You get early access to new videos, personal chats with me, and already 3 exclusive videos you won't find anywhere else. The first, about how China is destroying Russia's nature for coal mining. The second, a rare banned interview with Putin's ex-wife, Lyudmila. And the third, a frank confession of a soldier who was deceived into taking part in the war in Ukraine. A huge thank you as well to everyone supporting the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. Know that in heaven, a special place has already been prepared for you. Right now, I have 77 incredible patrons. Please, let's hit 80. Not saying goodbye. See you soon.